Here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, hey. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And boy, do we have a show for you guys tonight. As you guys can tell, we got Traders Reality in the chat. You guys saw him pop in here, and we are doing a collab tonight, guys. So get hyped. We're having Tino from Traders Reality on. We're going to be talking about some pretty fire topics. We're going to be talking about mostly kind of the thing that I think a lot of people are going to be interested in. We're going to be talking about XRP. Is the bull market here? Is the bear market wrapping up? We're going to be talking about some things that Tino is known for. We're going to be talking a little bit about Bookmap, and then we do have some questions from the community, the CandleMafia, that they want to know from Tino, and you guys know he's going to bring the heat. So shout out to the CandleMafia, and shout out to the Pattern Watchers for everybody tuned in watching right now. It's going to be an awesome show. So before we get into it, guys, don't forget to smash that like button. Every 100 likes we get, you guys get a spin on the wheel of pain and pleasure, where you're basically going to get a bunch of giveaways or a chance to win a bunch of giveaways. We did just give away an ETH on top of a bunch of Cardano and a bunch of free premium Discord memberships on our 50K sub live stream. So shout out to everybody who tuned into that. We really appreciate you guys always showing support. And we also have a big giveaway on Friday, so don't forget, or tomorrow. So don't forget to smash that like button. The more spins, the more wins. And on Friday, at the end of the stream, tomorrow, we will be announcing winners. God, we still have a huge giveaway to do tomorrow. We already gave away a ton of stuff, but tomorrow might even be... Yeah, tomorrow we're giving away a lot of stuff too. So smash that like button, guys, and tune in tomorrow's stream if you want to try to win those giveaways. But guys, let's go ahead. I don't want to keep Tino waiting too long. Let's say what's up to the Candle Mafia, and then we will drop in on Tino and see what's going on. But first, let's say hi to the Mafia. Shout out to Crypto Totoro in the chat. Let's go. Shout out to you, man. Thank you for being here. We got Petrolhead in here. What is going on, bro? He says smash the like button, guys. He said it, not me. Shout out to Metavice RTB in the house. What is going on? Shout out to A-Train. Shout out to Underground Only. I think you just won $100 at Cardano a few hours ago, didn't you? Shout out to you, bro. Thank you for tuning in again. Mark Dutch in the chat. We got Dave Digital, as always. Good to see you, bro. We got Jonathan Schaefer in the chat. We got Melissa. What is going on, Melissa? We got Hodl Crypto. Jessica, our female Candle Mafia representative. And then we got Hannah King, the princess of the Candle Mafia. What is going on, guys? Shout out to Darren Does Things. Shout out to Lunar Beaches. Shout out to Music Tags. What is going on? We got Caveman in the chat. Shout out to Greg. Shout out to Mike Dutch. What is going on, bro? And then shout out to Crypto Fire. Shout out to the Pattern Watchers. Welcome in and welcome to the Mafia, guys. So without further ado, speaking of the Pattern Watchers, guys, I don't want to keep them waiting too long. So without further ado, let me go ahead and pop on the headphones. And let's go ahead and bring on our special guest, Tino from Traders Reality. What is going on, Tino?
To show you the Vector candle. I'm down for that, but you know, the basis of the strategy.
She looks familiar.
Yo, what's good?
Hey, what's up, dude?
Yo, listen, bro,
familiar.
you left me alone for too long, bro. I had to spit some fire. She goes by Frankie's ex, so I don't take names.
That's not Kelly, is it?
She said Frankie's ex.
Guys,
sorry, man. I had to go in, bro. She was sat there doing nothing. Come on. She want to know about the Vector candle strategy.
Tino, I will tell you this. It's all good, but I will say, keep the sharp objects away from Kelly, because I don't know if she told you about the criminal record, but just be careful. She could get a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, man, she's eager for that Listen, man, we're going to get into too much detail right now. We can't be doing that right now afterwards. What's good, gang? What is happening, everyone?
Dude, thank you so much for coming in. And shout out to Kelly. After the show, tell her I said what's up.
Frankie's ex, bro.
Yeah,
don't take the name.
Mrs. Frankie's ex. But yeah, shout out to Tino. Dude, thank you so much for coming back on.
Pleasure, man.
Chat going absolutely nuts right now. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Listen, man, look, blow up doll, bro. I mean, come on, man. What have we come to? At least I ain't doing that NPC stuff, you know. But
right.
Thank you for the roses. I want you to do it, bro. You need to do it, bro.
Thanks for being on, Tino. Thanks for coming on, Tino. But dude, for real, thank you so much for coming
Nah,
on.
man,
I
it's all
know the Candle. I know the CandleMafia is super excited to hear what you have to say. We got some really cool topics to
Yes.
talk about. We're at a really
Yeah, man.
interesting point in the market. I do want to shout out my boy Dave Digital for the super chat. He said, eager for that vector candle. Shout out to Dave Digital.
Well, I'm trying not to pay attention to the chat right now, but if you want to get a conversation out of me, I'm just going to keep laughing.
Yeah,
So
I'm going to have to ignore
be
as well.
focused. Nah, don't ignore too much.
Yeah, not too much, but yeah, they are going crazy right now. But anyway, I know the Mafia is super excited to hear what you have to say about the markets. We're at an interesting place right now with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of people look at the 4-year cycle. A lot of people think it's completely fake, the 4-year cycle. But either way, we're in a really, really interesting place as we've had this obvious massive collapse in this bear market. And we've gotten a significant pump to the upside of just over 100%. So I guess where I want to start off is, like, kind of what is your general thoughts on the market as we've, again, like what I think, I'm kind of in the camp that, you know, 15.5 could have been the bear market bottom. Do you lie in that camp? What are kind of your thoughts on basically just the current state of crypto right now as far as the cycle goes?
Okay, so look, we know that Bitcoin has been following the correlation of the S&P, all right? Because ultimately money has to go into crypto to effectively get crypto up. That's the basis of it. Now, there's so many things that are influencing Bitcoin's price. You know, I've spoken about it before, the idea that futures markets are having an impact on Bitcoin's price, okay, when really it needs to be the spot market that's doing it, because that's people physically going in and buying Bitcoin. Now, back to that correlation with the S&P, as long as the S&P keeps going up, it sets the tone for people to start putting money in assets, right? But we've seen it's a different market, right? Jump back 2007, 2008, when the bear market came, when the yields inverted. That means when short-term interest is favoring quick flips. In other words, give the money to the government for a short period of time and then take it out. That means investors don't favor locking up money for a long time. We've got yields inverted really badly. 2 years at nearly 5%. That's not in a healthy market. But S&P's moving up. So I look at that and I say to myself, look, if the S&P can get above 4,800 and cleans it nicely, then okay, we're in a good bull run. But how can you fight the idea of a bear market now? Because Google's doing good on its earnings, all right? You've got Tesla, you've got Meta. They're all doing good things and money's plowing into these companies, yet Bitcoin ain't doing the flavor. It's not moving. So could Bitcoin, this is the question I'm asking myself is, could Bitcoin be giving us the heads up that the economy ain't really what it is? Because dollar dominance has gone down. During that move down, Bitcoin really didn't climb. Let's be honest now. What was the move from 25 all the way to 31 and 0 after that? Come on, you know?
Yep.
You would expect Bitcoin to be moving up, but is the 15K low the bottom? Well, we'll only start believing that the more we move away from it. Now, I always say the fast move is the false move. Is Bitcoin's move to the upside a fast move? Well, if we look at the chart back from November, the move just didn't stop. All right. So you could say, yeah, it's a bit of an extended move. But even Wall Street's even saying, look, the bull market's in. But they're also saying that the bear market is yet to fully take its effect. And this little rally, don't worry about it. The market's going to tank. So you've got to really look at where we were in the last bull markets. Did we have a problem with interest rates? Did we have a problem with money supply? Did we have a problem with the yields inverting? So it's all like now recession ain't even on the table now. So you're thinking, well, go on, Bitcoin, start making the move. See what I mean? So in answer to your question, is the 15K bottom in? Well, if we get close to it, then I'll start to challenge that idea. And I'm always about that. I'm always about the idea that if price gets to a certain point, then the narrative could change. So that's where I'm at with it. I mean, I can dive into XRP, but that's a different kettle of fish. Like I said, 4,800 needs to be cleared on the S&P if Bitcoin is going to keep moving up.
Yeah. And I like what you said there, because I kind of approach it in the same way, right? My general thoughts right now, based off of looking at the 4-year cycle. Now, I'm not one of those people who just believe in the 4-year cycle. It'll never break. I'm totally open to the cycles breaking. I'm even open to the cycles not necessarily, because I know there's some people out there that do think it's more tied to the traditional markets. I'm open to that idea as well. But basically, I approach it the same way where, right now, I do think there's a good chance that 15.5 is the bottom. But if we come back down to those levels, we would need to reassess the situation when we get down there with the new information we have. And if it looks, when we get down there, that it looks like we could break those lows and come lower, that's where I reassess the situation and change my kind of thesis, as we have to do many times as traders.
The thing is, if you're a holder, if Bitcoin starts dropping from now and keeps on dropping, you're looking at it on the idea, I can dollar cost average and get my crypto cheaper. You can buy Bitcoin cheap as it keeps on dropping.
Of course.
But then you're going to have that threshold of 15K and say, okay, if it keeps on dropping, how is that going to impact my portfolio? So you've got to say to yourself, if I keep buying Bitcoin as it's dropping from now, and let's assume that it keeps on dropping and goes beyond 15 and goes down to like 14, can you handle that? Because that's the thing with Bitcoin, man. It's such a volatile asset. Some days it moves, other days it doesn't, right? Now, back to that 4-year cycle. If they're modeling it on the idea of the traditional stock market, okay, we're not in a normal environment right now. That's the thing. Yields inversion, screaming recession. Although they say that it's an indication of a recession, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going into a recession. But the 70 years that have passed have shown that when the yields invert, it usually follows through. So take 70-year cycle and then marry it to Bitcoin cycle with 4 years, you're forgetting that there's so much that has to be taken into consideration. But to rely wholly on the 4-year cycle, look, I'm down for Bitcoin to go up all day.
Oh, yeah.
But when we start looking at Bitcoin in comparison to other assets, the only thing that will send Bitcoin up, in my opinion, is the ETF. Now that word's gone a bit quiet, So that's where we're like, look, and I've said it before, if the ETF gets passed, that's $15 trillion worth of capital that Bitcoin will be exposed to, because it's an endorsement by BlackRock. The sooner they get that done, the sooner Bitcoin will go up. So if you're a holder, you're playing the waiting game right now. So keeping on tap with that SEC discussion on the ETF, that's pretty much going to be the next best thing for Bitcoin,
Yeah, I would agree. There's been buzzes of ETFs. People have tried to apply for ETFs, and they just always get rejected. I remember in the bull market, that was a big thing. It's like, oh, all we need is that ETF, and we're going to go to 100K.
Yeah.
And everyone had their eyes set on that 100K level. But yeah, I would agree. I do think that, when we get blasted off to new all-time highs, I do think, the ETF is that big thing exposing us to all that real big money. That's
where it's at, bruv.
Yeah, 100%.
That's exactly where it's at.
100%. Now, one other thing, and this will kind of bleed into one of our other kind of topics that I wanted to talk about, is the ETF being one of those big news events that could definitely blast us to higher prices. Also, just on that note, I would say, even with the if the ETF got approved, say tomorrow, right, and we start blasting off, and maybe I think something like that could break what people see as the 4-year cycle, right? Because like you said, there's a lot of stuff that you have to pay attention to other than just, the 4-year cycle's programmed in. There's all this other stuff, like the macroeconomic environment's much different than any other cycle we've seen. But on top of the ETF news, if we were to get that, obviously very bullish for crypto or Bitcoin specifically. But another thing that I think a lot of people think can kind of maybe expedite the end of the bear market or kind of break the cycles is some kind of super bullish news with XRP, which obviously we have gotten some. We got that big rip on XRP. What are your thoughts on the lawsuit with XRP and the SEC, or Ripple and the SEC? And do you think this is a strong enough narrative to really just blast crypto off maybe early, or do you think this could be like a main thing that can give us a lot of bullish momentum?
Look, I stumbled across this guy's video, and he was there, basic cap, wearing a tracksuit, No thrills or spills. It was just a normal video. And he started talking about XRP. And I was like, the title said, XRP price will not go to, I think it was 1,000 or whatever price it was. And I've mentioned this before. He's talking about the idea that the XRP coins that the banks hold, escrow is what he said, they will go to $1,000. But the coins that we hold as retail investors, they won't go to $1,000 because they're using XRP Ripple to exchange monies, right? But then I sit back and I think to myself, you can say that. And if he's going on the idea that the escrow coins that first were given to these banks will go up in value between banks, fair enough. But for retail, it won't. Well, again, crypto, in my opinion, is just, it's just when you've got an army of people getting ready to buy, when you've got an influx of cash, that influx or retail, you think $15 trillion, that's coming from retail, okay? Investors, high net worth individuals, plowed all over the world, right? They start buying up XRP just purely on the speculation that banks are going to be using XRP, then XRP naturally for the retail trader, it's going to shoot up, bro. Like Dogecoin, you know? Look at Pepe coin, man. A meme coin. Look what that did. Wild. Making millionaires overnight on a $5 investment, bro. Yeah. You know? So again, I'll always say it. You can't outrule certain price points within reason. Like if someone were to say XRP to 220,000, bruv, let's work out the math. You know, let's just park that to the side for a second. That's just wishful thinking. All right. But if you've got the support and the community step in and everyone that's in crypto buys up XRP, that's just going to accumulate in market cap. You can't hide from it. People are adamant that the math will not make sense. It's impossible for XRP to have a market cap of 100 trillion. Well, if we keep on printing, bro, keep on printing, we're going to get there sometime, like very soon, you know? So back to what you were saying. I mean, what you've got to remember is it's what's going to make you invest. Whether it's the ETF, whether it's the court case, all right, cool. The court case is a long and unwinding thing. So we know two things. The ETF is going to take a while to get processed. Just the speculation itself created the move in Bitcoin. They brought it back down, all right? And I'm looking at Bitcoin's price and I'm saying, look, man, and I do this every day, right? Every day I am looking at Bitcoin. The assets I trade, Euro, NASDAQ futures, S&P futures. But I'm always geared to Bitcoin, okay? Because Bitcoin's going to tell you when money's coming into the crypto or not, right? But I always say that Ethereum trades so much better than Bitcoin. So it's counterintuitive what I'm doing, but Bitcoin will always be the asset I go to work out what everything else is going to do, whether it's the ETF, whether it's XRP's lawsuit. You know, people are saying, yeah, XRP pumps, Bitcoin should follow suit. I think it's the other way around. People are waiting to put money into crypto, you know, and the guys that are waiting behind the scenes, I know everyone follows the whales and whatnot, but we expect the same behavior from whales. They move 1,000, they buy 1,000. So we don't really expect much. We need that transaction from someone that we didn't expect. Like the last time, Elon, Tesla brought Bitcoin. That just sent Bitcoin on a mad one. And that started, in essence, the bull market in principle. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the black swan event in crypto. We're looking for the beautiful dove, you know, to just send Bitcoin up. Wishful thinking as such. But again, the market is crazy, bruv.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
One of the main indicators, the volatility index, the VIX chart, they're starting to say, right, that doesn't work anymore. This thing's been used for the past 50 years nearly, and now they're saying it's not working. The markets are changing, bruv.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
So much going to be happening.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. And I do think there is more to just the markets in general that people need to pay attention to. I like that you said that, you know, we're looking for that, right? Not that black swan, that white dove, right? That one thing, that
dove,
Tesla
man.
buying Bitcoin. Do you so you would say, in your personal opinion, do you think that would likely be an ETF, or do you think it's something that we don't know yet, something we have less of a hint about?
Look, it's going to happen when we don't expect it. Okay.
100%.
If the ETF can encourage up to $15 trillion worth of capital, in essence, in investing from people, where are they getting that money from? Like how are they coming up with that figure? And they're just assuming that it's the corporate. Because listen, corporate America's buying up houses, okay? Why would they not buy Bitcoin? And the ETF is the only way that the banks can do that, in my opinion, the most legitimate way, because the banks ain't using their cash. They're using their investors' cash. Yep. Bank ain't going to take no liability. They give you a loan. It's already insured for you to lose it or not get it back. Any money you pay them is a bonus, So that's what I'm looking at. It's the ETF hype it's just calmed down right now. Okay. And when we start hearing about it again, then you'll start seeing Bitcoin make a move. But until we get that event where it's, oh my God, because people have endorsed crypto. They passed the bill today. Like they're talking about recognizing crypto. And then, of course, with what happened to the Senate Minority Leader, good old Mitch, how he stood froze in his press conference. That guy has been the grim reaper for legislation, especially in crypto, all right, or anything in finance. And if they replace him, which calls for him to resign are happening anyway, and someone else steps in that's pro-crypto, any legislation that passes through for cryptocurrency is going to be positive. That too is going to send Bitcoin higher. But you can approve as much as you want for crypto. Unless someone buys it and a big household name buys it like Tesla and puts it out there, it's going to take a while for Bitcoin to move. Like I said, it's the ETF, man.
I
That's
love
what
it.
I think anyway.
And, I would say, like I said, there's been other entities that have tried to get a Bitcoin ETF. And I think BlackRock, I don't know if you would agree with this or not, if anyone's going to get it approved, right, BlackRock is probably the one that's going to get it. Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah, come on, bro. Like, look at their history of getting ETFs approved. But they've been using traditional assets, They're using traditional assets. That's why they get approved. And the one that doesn't get approved is just for an anomaly. But historically, BlackRock runs the show.
Yep.
$9 trillion worth of capital under management. You think they're going to step down to the SEC? I won't be surprised if they've got them on the payroll.
Exactly.
Let's be honest, man. Everyone's in bed with each other, even Frankie's ex.
Yeah,
I'm working on it, bro. I'm working on it.
Yeah, no, I would 100% agree, man. Like it's the ETF, I think, is really the thing. And honestly, if BlackRock gets that ETF approved, I think that could potentially start kind of what I talk about. I've talked about this before on some of our other shows at BitBoy Crypto or Hit Network. And that's like what we've talked about as like the regulatory bull run, where you start to get a little bit more clarity. The Ripple case is settled. That gives a little bit of clarity. You get the ETF approved, and that could. How do you feel about that changing Bitcoin as an asset in general? Like we just talked about breaking the 4-year cycle. I expect Bitcoin at some point, even just through the maturity of the market, to just change as the way it behaves as the market cap gets bigger. Do you think all this stuff getting passed will just kind of change the animal of Bitcoin as a whole?
Well, look, we've got this thing happening now called FedNow, which is a new payment system, an interbank payment system, which makes transacting between banks a lot more faster. All right. So we're going into a new type of volatility. Okay. Now, with that new volatility, that encourages more interest, more people going to trade. That means is the futures market's going to start exploding, more leverage, more money from retail. Naturally, that's going to impact Bitcoin's price. Okay. So going back to what you said, we've got to think to ourselves, I have just lost my trail of thought. Next question, bro. Sorry, man. I've just lost my trail of thought.
No, you're good. Just if you think that, these big events, right? Like maybe that ETF is that white dove we were talking about.
Yes.
Like, do you think that will change the market as a whole? Like just the way it behaves.
Look, look, Bitcoin will go up and down. Vector candles will be longer, okay? And it's just going to, I think Bitcoin is slowly going to be a slow moving asset, if you know what I'm saying. All right? Because so many people are going to be transacting on it, right? It's going to get to a point where it's going to be not so volatile, all right? You look at the NASDAQ, that bad boy just moves like lightning, all right? Have you ever traded NASDAQ futures?
Not really, no.
Okay, dude. It goes up, it's down, comes straight back up. It's like the CME game on there. It's just unbelievable when you're trading it. And you've got to make sure that you're in and zoned in when you're trading NASDAQ. Bitcoin is like NASDAQ now. Yeah. So as we start getting to adopt Bitcoin, naturally Bitcoin might slow down in the way it moves. Like, here's an example. Berkshire Hathaway stock, right? That stock's around about $500,000 a share, bro. Okay? That doesn't really move much,
right?
Because there's not many people buying that stock. It's only institutional fund managers that are planting. If they want to diversify, they've got a few million, buy a few of those shares, you've covered yourself in principle. So as Bitcoin starts to get more popular and we get to the all-time high of 100,000, 200,000, soon Bitcoin's price is going to be a point where people, won't be able, the average retail trader, he ain't going to be able to buy a Bitcoin if it's priced at, say, 100, 200, 300,000 Bitcoin. The only people that are going to be picking that crypto up is banks. And then that's why the ETF's coming in. So you could say, yeah, maybe the ETF is going to set that up. So from now, is Bitcoin cheap now? Relatively speaking, yes, to the scope of what it could be. Now, whether we get to that point, it's a different story. The ETF could come and be like, nope, ain't happening. Bitcoin takes a tumbler to the downside, and that's all the dreams shattered. But then all they need to do is reinstate it again. But look, NASDAQ, it's NASDAQ that's going to decide whether or not Bitcoin's ETF happens. It's going to be NASDAQ because they're going to be the one that enforces the surveillance system, the surveillance sharing, letting them know who is buying this cryptocurrency, who's buying the spot Bitcoin. Because the spot market is up for manipulation. What do you think Forex is? It's a spot market. We will never know the volumes that go into Euro USD. Why? Because it's the spot market, it's the OTC, over the counter. A bank can go in and buy a shed load of euros, okay? But we won't know it's a bank. It might be a private investor. We won't know. It could be a dude sat at his desk waiting for his dog to finish taking, you know what I'm saying, and he just goes and picks up some euros. But the ETF, in principle, will eliminate that because there will be transparency on who's buying and who's selling. And NASDAQ hasn't endorsed crypto. It's kind of like said, look, man, I'm not really liking this story. We're used to the traditional ETFs. They haven't said they don't like it, but they've said we're used to the old way of doing business. So again, you've got to kill the idea of that negativity, and BlackRock in principle is trying to endorse it. So that's where we are, in my opinion.
I love it. I love it. Now, you did.
I hope you do, bro.
Yeah. You mentioned surveillance. Now, this isn't.
Yes.
We talked about this briefly. This has kind of been all over the place recently. Speaking of surveillance, I just personally kind of wanted to get your take on this. WorldCoin.
Yes.
This idea of scanning your eyeballs, this is like the big thing. It sounds like a Black Mirror episode. Do you have an opinion on this?
Look, man, I focus on the numbers. So WorldCoin comes out. It's got a market cap of 250 million, what I last read. And the futures trading is 650 million. So you can assume that WorldCoin is going to be going up because people are trading it actively, right?
Yep.
But this... It's like you're saying to Michael Saylor, dude, do you mind if I install or allow me to, scan your eye? so that I can get some information from you so you can buy more Bitcoin. He's in there, bro. He's
Yep.
doing it. But would I? It's a funny one. Look, I
Yeah.
love The Matrix. I love the film The Matrix. I'm down with it. You know, I know Kung Fu. Would I allow myself to be, you know, have something installed in me in Neuralink style? Damn right I would, man. If I can know Kung Fu in 5 minutes, if I can learn something in literally seconds, of course I'm going to get it done, bro. Let's get with the program. Someone comes to you and says, I will give you the internet in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
All you need to do is just let me scan your eye. Cheers, bro. Sign me up. I'm in. You know?
Yeah.
But,
I feel the same exact way. I don't mean to cut you off.
no, you're good, man.
A lot of people, right? Like a lot of people like, oh my God, they're trying to get control of everybody, right? No freedom. And sure, maybe that, obviously collecting everyone's iris. I think there's already a problem with people in China, like a black market on iris information, or I guess eyeballs, which is absolutely crazy. But you said it perfectly. As soon as they start to give you a reason to do it, right? Like, oh, well, if you scan your eye or whatever, you get some crypto and you could get rich. Or, I always tell people, all these people are out here freaking about, I would never give my iris up. Do you have an iPhone? Use Face ID? Do you use Clear at the airport? Like, I remember when I signed up for Clear at the airport, I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to give up my biometric data. This is weird. And the girl looked at me and she goes, use Snapchat? I'm like, yeah. She goes, you have an iPhone? Yeah. Use Face ID? Yeah. And then I'm just like,
there you go.
Scan me. And I want to skip this line, by the way. So just scan me up. And, when it gets to the point to Neuralink where you can actually get like all this knowledge just instantly downloaded into your head, I think the line is going to be out the door for people to get that. And they're going to kind of throw out their care for that personal, biometric data in favor of just knowing everything in an instant.
Dude, it's leveling up. Like, people are all like, oh, I'm not giving my information. I ain't going to do that. But if you ask them, do you have a doctor that you can go to when you're sick? They're going to say yes. And when the doctor says, we're just going to take a blood sample. Yeah, please, give me your thumb. Stab. Where's the objection there, bro? So it's until there is a benefit that they can say, yeah, I'm happy with that. I'll take that. I know Kung Fu kind of thing. Then okay. People will do it. But look, man, people they're gonna say it. It's like you get some environmentalists. It didn't make sense to me when I saw this, but check this one out. I was driving down this road, and down this road was like an industrial area. And in this industrial area was building for one of these energy providers. And outside this building were all these protesters, like environmentalists, and they were screaming about, nuclear power and whatnot. And I was there and I was watching it all, and they were getting really bad with it, like in this industrial area. And they were just out there complaining that you shouldn't be using nuclear power and all of that stuff. Then I thought to myself, those same people are going to go home and put the kettle on and complain about the same company that's providing them the power. And it's like, you've just wasted your time protesting to the same company that you're going back home to use the same power for. Like, if you're really going to protest, you would camp out and live in a camp. That's it. That's how I see it. So people are going to be like, people's way of life, when they get told, give me your iris to identify you, and they put their arms up and say, no chance, I'm not having that. You'll go to your doctor and you'll give him your blood. The iris is nothing. When you give your blood, that's your blueprint. If you're sick, what's the first thing they do? They want to take your blood. If you're really sick, that is, because the blood gives you everything. Scanning an eye shot, like, oh man.
Yeah.
For a bit of crypto, I'd do it.
That's what I
for
mean.
For a Bitcoin.
Yeah, right? Offer me a little XRP, scan my iris, sign me up. Like I said, I did it to cut a line in the airport, right? But like you said, people, we've been giving this information up without thinking about it for quite some time, right?
Why is it wrong though? Like, why should it be frowned upon? Like, you scan your eye to cut a queue. Would you pay for first class seats on a plane?
Right.
You would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course.
So that's the same thing.
Yeah.
Scan your eye.
100%.
Man, make your life easier.
Yeah, you make a really good point. It's like, just give up, here's the thing. I think it's a little too far fetched. Like, I think the reason that a lot of people just do it without thinking, or when you ask them like, what are you worried about? I think the horrible situation is a little too far fetched. Like, they might be like, oh yeah, like it could turn into a nightmare, but that's not gonna happen in my lifetime. Or it's just a little too far fetched for them to think it'll actually happen. And like I said, I'm a victim of it too. Like I said, cut a line, unlock my phone without typing in a passcode. Like, Neuralink is going to be the hard one.
I don't know, man. I'm still there. If they make it legitimate and that you can actually have a chip installed in your brain, bruv, and extract information like that, but then only the select few would get access to that. They wouldn't just let that roll out. Bro, we would have wars. There would be wars. Bad wars, because everyone would have a calculated way of doing something. So actually, nothing bad would happen when you think about it, because everyone will be working out how to avoid getting hurt. So then there'll just be this stalemate. I think that's a great idea. I'm gonna go check that Neuralink out.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too, is like, I think people will be like, oh, they're gonna take over my brain, they're gonna take over my thoughts with, maybe that's a worry, but again, I think the enticing, hey, you could have all this information, you can know everything all at once. I'm a big fan of technology. Like, new technology is just so fascinating to me. I love the time I grew up in, because I was able to see technology go from not so extraordinary to having supercomputers in our pocket and even on our wrists. Some of us, right? Like, you have a smartwatch.
How old are you, bro? How old
31.
Are you? So you remember the mini disc, didn't you?
Yes.
Remember the mini disc player? Sony?
Yep.
Man, those were the days, bro. You sat there recording it with the auxiliary cable, chuck it on the disc, no issues.
Carrying around a CD player, like, you have to be really gentle, otherwise it would skip.
That thing, I had the Philips one back in the day,
Me
the
too.
silver one, walking like that, and you're trying to go for a jog because you thought, yeah, man, I want to be that guy that's holding his CD player, and every 5 seconds the thing's skipping.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm down with the technological aspect to everything.
Yeah. We'll do it together, Tino. When the Neuralink becomes available, we'll go do it together.
I'm gonna put that Neuralink straight into Frankie's ex. I need to stop talking about that, bro.
Shout out to my ex. But okay, so let's shift. So we talked about the market, we talked about XRP, talked about the ETF.
What's the chat saying, bro? What's the chat saying? Is everyone all good right now?
Yeah. So shout out to everybody watching right now, guys. Smash the like button if you're liking what Tino's talking about right now. If you like this conversation, let me know if you guys would get a Neuralink. Are you guys down with the Neuralink? Put a 1 in chat if you would get it. Put a 2, put an F if you wouldn't get it. But I did see somebody commented that you should sign up to read audiobooks on Audible. I guess they like your voice.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Do you know what? Right, so listen to this. I wanted to read my daughter a story, okay? So I was like, let me just roll onto ChatGPT. So I went onto ChatGPT and I was like, can you give me a horror story? My daughter likes Chucky. That's it. Like, she's 5. She likes Chucky. So we're going to go with what she likes. So I said to ChatGPT, give me a scary story. Man, it gave me some flavor. And I started reading it and I was like, right, I'm not going to continue that bit. And my daughter was like, no, read it, Daddy, read it. I found it quite relaxing to do. So I think, Mike's been trying to get me on to do a podcast. Podcast's a long time. A proper podcast is 4 hours, a good podcast.
Yep.
But I wouldn't mind. I don't mind. I'm actually going to be doing a podcast. So, yeah.
There you go.
I'll set up an account on Audible. So, yeah, okay, dude. Yeah, I'll do it, man.
There you go. Wish came true. Do you have a favorite podcast? Real quick, before we dive into some trading stuff, do you have a favorite podcast?
I'm going to be boring as hell and say to you, no.
Okay.
I don't. Do you know why? Social media has screwed all podcasts. Mm-hmm. Because people on social media will only see the short of it. They'll take the best bits. It kind of kills the idea of having and listening to the podcast. That's what I hate about it. Like when someone says to me, did you see what Joe Rogan said? Without watching the podcast, I already know. So now I'm not compelled to listen to what the podcast said because it's like I've already got the best bits, you know? So I hate that for it. But I'm pretty boring, bruv. A podcast to me is watching a tick chart. That's a podcast to me. You know, watching up and down. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like podcasts are supposed to be long form, right? And now everything just gets turned into a 30-second TikTok. So it's just like, I would agree with you there. I will be even more boring, though. I would have to say my favorite podcast is the Joe Rogan Experience. So you can't get more basic.
No, but he's got people on there that you want to listen to.
100%. Yeah.
That's not to say that there's no other podcasts out there that don't provide value. You know, like, but he's got relevant people on there that talk some interesting stuff, you know, and these are people that are professionals at the top of their game. I don't really want to hear someone that's aspiring to be a scientist. I'm going to listen to the scientist. You know?
And like some of the best in the world, thought leaders, scientists.
Come on, man.
Some of the smartest.
That
people.
room, you know, you can't knock. And Joe Rogan's a smart dude as well.
100%.
Don't get it twisted. He's one of those guys. But
I think he's
Let's
smart.
Get some...
Go ahead.
Oh no, you go. I interrupted you, bro. I feel bad.
No, you're good. You're good. I was gonna say he's smart. He's a good conversationalist. He knows the right questions to ask, and he's genuinely curious. He's never sitting there like waiting for the podcast to be over. He genuinely wants to suck as much knowledge and information out of the guests as he can. And it's very apparent, and it makes for a great podcast.
Yeah, man, all day. Like you can rely on it delivering. You know, there's no boring podcast on there.
Nope.
I haven't actually watched a single podcast on Joe Rogan because I've seen the shorts. That's bad. Yeah. I think that's bad. That's not nice.
Yeah, I would agree. I could send you some of my favorites that try to entice you into the full podcast.
I'm down for it, bro. I'm down. All right. I probably won't watch them, but I'm down for it, bro.
That's okay. We'll try. But I want to move on to some trading stuff, some trading specific stuff. So I know you have the hybrid system. And I know some people in chat may be familiar with it, but if you could just give like a brief explanation of what the hybrid system is. And then we did have a really, really good question from one of our Mafia members, and they wanted to know if there was a way that, like, do you ever use volume profiles? Because that's something that I use all the time. Is there a way that you use volume profiles with the hybrid system, or do you see a way that you could use these two tools together?
Yeah, so hybrid system is just following the market maker's business model. Okay. Now, what I've done is created a course. It's a free course on the Traders Reality website, tradersreality.com. Go and check that out. And that breaks down every aspect of the hybrid system. Okay. So when you hear me talking about the 50 EMA or the ADR, the average weekly range, or the psychological levels that you hear me banging on about, and these blue, red, green, violet vector candles, right? That course right there is going to break it all down for you and help you understand the tools that you're using. Because you can talk about volume profile. If you don't know how to use it, that ain't going to serve you. So in answer to the question, how can we use volume profile in with the hybrid system? Well, without using volume profile, you have already the information about where the transactions are. Volume profile, when I put it up on the chart, it just shows me a histogram of where the activity is. But I know where the activity is based on the vector candles, because when you see Bitcoin, like today, you seeing that red vector candle that brought Bitcoin down at the lows where we're waiting for price. As it slowly started to climb up, it recovers the vector candle. Now, at the point of that red vector, the volume profile would have been minimal because it's an imbalance. Above that red vector was where the volume profile was at, where the point of control could have been, okay? So they moved the imbalanced price and they've dropped it down. And then they started to accumulate again. Price comes up, creates a new point of control. So how would I use volume profile? I use it as a snapshot. But then again, I don't need to, because the vector candles tell me where most of the transactions are happening. See, when you see lots of vectors appearing in one zone, that's an accumulation. you'll see that on the volume profile, like in the shape of a B, okay, or a P. So there's two types of profiles on the volume profile, shapes that is. You've got a P, 3, you've got a D, and you've got the shape of a B as well, right?
Yep.
So you can use the vector candles to tell you where most of the transactions were. And in volume profile, when you see very minimal volume, that's an imbalance. Well, I'm already seeing that already with the vector candle. So logically, volume profile says that they're going to try and fill that imbalance. So sometimes I use it, you know, I make reference to it. And since I started this YouTube, you know, talking about the hybrid system, bruv, I had no trading view. I had no book map. I had nothing other than the chart on MT4. That's all I had. So all of my ways of understanding the hybrid were just done with no influence. When you start adding things to it, like the delta, it starts to make the vector candle a little bit more prominent. I'm starting to understand why that move in the future, if I see it again. So for example, if I see a green vector candle appearing at the highest point in the range and the delta's there with a reading of like 20%, I know those buyers are getting trapped up. But without delta, I would already know that that green vector candle is trapping buyers because it's market maker building shorts. But adding the delta is like adding confluence to confluence. But you can't take everything and put it into the chart and say, right, I'm now going to make a trade. Because you'll have confluence over confluence over confluence. And then you're sat there scratching your, you know what I mean? And you need to take the trade. And then you don't, then you're going to be thinking, well, why did I just waste my time with all of this? Because again, trading is probabilistic. You can have all the confluences you want. You take your trade, you lose. Welcome to trading, bro. That's what it does. You know, it happens all the time in trading. But in relation to volume profile, you can use it. You know, if you know volume profile well, then you need to get to know the hybrid system well. If you know the hybrid system well, you need to get to know the volume profile, because there are things that will happen in the volume profile that you might not register it in the hybrid, and vice versa. That's why I always go back to the hybrid. If you saw my charts when I trade, I literally just have the vector candles, the 50 EMA. I don't even have the tick candles, the volume bars. And I'll have lines on the chart that show me the whole and half numbers. That is it.
Yep.
Because I've got it in my head of the amount of times I've watched the charts. So many times I've seen like a drop on euro today. Euro's dropped quite aggressively. Euro's going to creep back up because it has to. That's what it does. After a big drop like that, they're going to creep it back up. Look at gold. It's going to creep back up because you can rely on the legacy markets to do that. And the hybrid system shows you that with the big red vectors. You start seeing the blue and green vectors at the lows. It's starting to move. You know, that's all I'm using when I'm trading.
Yeah, I love that too, because, you know, I talk about this on my channel all the time. You know, like you said, you have your hybrid system or even volume profile as well. You know, I always say too much information is bad information. And I also always talk about how, you know, one person looks like, I know there's a lot of people that will be out there, they just trade price action, right? Then you get the people who use indicators, you get people, you know, all these different trading styles. And every time I go on a show with other people and we're doing TA or whatever, it's funny because we always talk about very similar levels and we're all looking at something very similar. But when we all show our work, it's like we all get there in some different way, but always wind up being like ending up at a very similar area. And I always think that's so interesting. But I like that you said that because I'm a big, you know, I'm a big advocate for keep your chart as clean as possible. Like when you pull up your chart and you got a million EMAs and you got all this stuff flying around, too much information could be bad information. And then, like you said, you're just sitting there like, God, is this bullish or bearish? I don't even know anymore. There's just too many signals. So I like that, just keeping it simple and just using what you know and what works. So I just love that because I think there's a lot of people out there that just have even just people I know, just in general, they'll be like, "Hey, look at this chart. What do you think?" And they show me their phone, and I'm like,
Yeah, you
"Can't
don't
even see the
need to.
candles."
That's the thing. That's it. It's you don't need to fill your screen with indicators.
Yep.
Now you might see me on the lives where I've got drawings all over the place.
Yeah.
Right. And the hybrid system, when you activate all the indicators, bruv, it's a shit show. Sorry, it's literally there's so many things on there, and it's going to distort your decision making process because you want price to recover a vector zone, for example. Then you've got one resistance, you've got another one, and there's a pivot point. But what if it turns there? What if it out of sight, out of mind? I know that kind of comes into play, but if you didn't know it was there, would you acknowledge it, and would it change your decision? So you can get to the journey of a decision much quicker when you use less.
Yep.
Okay. But you have to make sure that you've got a thorough understanding of the less. All right. And be so deeply involved into it. I got to a point where when I was trying to understand the hybrid system, I said to myself, right, I'm going to pick a time frame and I'm going to take every single green vector candle going back from 1970. Okay. So on the platform that I use, they've got a playback, a strategy tester, and I can go back to 1970. I can extract the data, all right, the history, and I can go back to 1970 and it will print to me what euro or dollar, I did it for dollar yen, what dollar yen has done. Okay. And I took every 5-minute candle that was a green vector. I marked it off. I did the same thing for a red vector. I did the same thing for a blue vector and a violet vector and even stopping volume candles. And the common theme was they always recovered them. The smaller the time frame, the more likely they're going to recover it. Okay. Now, coupled with other things that you can use with the hybrid system, you'll start to understand that it's all about practice. You see, everyone that endorses a system or promotes an indicator, we live a lazy way. Bill Gates has got the right idea. He employs lazy people because they'll always find an easier way of doing something, right? But if you put on an indicator, you hope that the indicator is going to say, buy here, sell here, kick back, let's go enjoy the weekend kind of thing, right?
Yep.
These are your indicators, your eyes, because it's your eyes that are going to create the signal for you, because you're going to recognize there's going to be some repetition in the behavior. You work on volume profile. You know volume profile from the shape it forms. History would have it that you've recognized it before. And that's what people ain't doing. People are not practicing the system that they're getting involved in. When was the last time you looked at a candlestick in 1982 on the 5-minute time frame and went forward with that? Now, I get it. Some people might not have the luxury of time to do so. Okay. But you improve the odds of understanding. Don't spend a second trading unless you know the tools that you're using and how the tool prints itself on the charts to identify a move. You know, that's how I taught myself. I realized I have to watch it.
Yep.
All day. You know? So
yeah.
That's
I
anyone new to trading.
Yeah, well, I talk about this all the time. And I always tell people, I think the best thing that I've done for my trading, or not even just my trading, just the understanding of the charts in general, some of the best thing, or one of the best things I ever did was learning about bar replay in TradingView and just going all the way back and just watching the price action. And like you just said, like taking notes, marking things off, right? And knowing taking what I was learning at the time and saying like, okay, whenever I learned about volume profiles, say like, let me go back in time, deploy this tool on the old price action and just play through it, see how it interacts, learn it, watch videos, read about it, do research, and then just sitting on the charts until my eyes were bleeding, just in bar replay mode, watching the price action. And I think that gives you the ability to have your thumb on the pulse of just the way the market moves, if that makes sense. So I would 100%.
People will beg to that. Look, you've got to be careful that you don't take the idea of practice, okay, as a way of confirming that you know how to trade. Okay? Because that's what I thought. I thought if I go back, try and find something that appears every so often, try and replicate it in the chart. I always found it never did it when I was there in real time. Okay? Because I'm getting new information all the time. I can't get new information on information that is already there. So I had to fine tune the way I practiced. I had to go back in the charts and identify, because of the system, it says this candlestick that appears here, there's usually going to be a recovery to it. That's where we get the 50% recovery. That's where we get that, retrace back into the moving averages or the psychological levels. And each of these aspects of the hybrid system are trading opportunities. I've got guys that have reached out to me, said to me, Tino, I've only studied like 5% of the system. I only trade on bounces off the 200 EMA support and resistance, and I'm absolutely killing it. I've yet to work out what stopping volume candles are. So he doesn't know the full system, but he's killing it by knowing and understanding something about the system on the 200 EMA. He's heard me talking about use this, do this, apply this, look at the moving averages, and and taking the practice of the past and then going into the future and projecting. You've got to get good at projecting, because you won't know how to project if you don't know what could repeat. And the hybrid system will give you that. So the last few days, we've been waiting for Bitcoin to effectively come up, and it's been showing these spikes to the upside. So I think it was on Tuesday's stream, we wanted Bitcoin to move up. And we got a clue by the green vector at the lows on the 5-minute time frame. It was a clue. Now, I've seen this happen thousands of times. I take the shot at that moment in the live stream and said, we expect Bitcoin to move up because if market makers holding this range, we expect them to go up to take out the previous candle. But I've gone back in the charts thousands of times and found that same opportunity. I recognized it there. So you got to get good at recognizing something, then going in the chart and hunting for it. I try and tell people, don't make the mistake of thinking that your practice is going to guarantee that in real time, you're going to see the same success, because you're waiting to see how what you've practiced is going to unfold. You're always getting new information, but you need a foundation. If you're going to go somewhere, if you're going to go for a walk, you're going to at least wear a pair of shoes. You're going to be prepared for it. You're going to have some water with you. You ain't just going to walk, bruv, and hope that somewhere on the journey, you're going to stumble across a pair of shoes that you can wear. Yeah. It's the wildest analogy, but you get what I'm saying. You've got to know what to practice, and then you've got to hit the charts in real time. Yeah. You don't even need to commit money. You just need to draw out. I expect Bitcoin to do this because I recognize something. And then you try and repeat that. That's how I see it.
Yeah, and I actually like that, right? Because I always tell people say, hey, I've never traded. What should I start with? And I always say, listen, start on the charts. Like you said, you want to make sure that you're not looking at your practice as a guarantee that you're just going to win those trades in current time, because you get new information all the time. 100%. And what I also tell people, like you just said, you don't even have to use money, right? Like look for that same setup or whatever you're looking to, whatever you're practicing on, look for that in the current markets and see if it's continuing to happen in real time. And the other thing I always say is, like, at some point when you do wind up using real money, expect it to be different, because like I always say, like, if I open up a paper account, right, like it's much easier to trade on a paper account because you just don't deal with the emotions of trading, right? So I think that's important to realize as well, that, practice with just, find the real-time price action. Try to see if what you're looking at is going to play out on the real-time price action, but then also be aware that when you use that real money, you might start losing trades and be like, wait, what happened? And it's that emotion that will creep up on you that doesn't happen when you're just, using paper or whatever. And I remember...
You've got to lose so much to understand why something works. People go in with the idea that it needs to be, I need to master this before I put money in. So people already got in their heads that they want to put money in.
Yeah.
If I had my time again, I wouldn't do that.
Yep.
I wouldn't. I would stick to my practice And I realized where I was going wrong in my practice because the shit that I was doing wasn't working. I was like, why? Why am I not getting it? I just spent 7 hours staring at this. Why am I not seeing the success of it? Money in trading, you have to literally, you have to put money down and pretend it's a demo account to not care. You literally have to do that.
100%.
So that you can stay in tune with what you've studied. Because for me, it's execution. I don't care. I have to be on execution. You know, everyone wants to play a game. Everyone wants to be good at a game. This is a game. We mess it up by being emotional about it, by allowing ourselves to say, I should have closed that $500 gain. I should have closed that. I could have.
Yep.
No, you couldn't have, bro. That's the hard truth. You never knew it was going to go there. So you can't assume that you could have made $15,000 on a flip. You can't. Take your $1,000 and run because you never knew it was going to be $1,000. So why are you complaining about money that you never knew you were going to get? I'd understand if you knew definitely. And market maker was knocking on your door and saying, no, bro, listen, load up your cash. We're going to move Bitcoin to 31, sell it at 31, 29,900. Make sure you're out by that point. What you going to do? You're going to listen because it's guaranteed. You can say, yeah, I'm going to make X amount. I'm going to put the house down. People have that way of thinking when they miss out on a trade. And that's what the market does. You got to be happy that you got out of the market with money.
Yep.
Because the money that you've made is the same. It's coming from the same person that's thinking, I should have closed. And I got forced to close. It's zero sum, man. That's the sad truth.
Yep.
It's zero sum.
Market tuition, right? I actually struggled with that in the beginning of my journey. It was, I struggled a lot with the greed, right? Like, and I would get so upset over missing moves, and that basically turned me into a take profit like pusher, right? I would just push that take profit up. No, I want a little more, and it would come down, and then I just wind up missing the whole move and losing money. When like you said, I should have just took the money that I made and ran away, because the market takes money from people, right? Like that's it. Like you said, like people go into this trying to avoid losing money. And I always call it just market tuition, because trading with real money is just so much different than trading with fake money, that like you kind of have to just lay it out there and take your shots, right?
Yeah, you got to remember, right? You start a business, bro, right? We know there's a cost. You can't go into business and be like, I ain't going to spend a penny, bruv. And they'll say, yeah, but you can start a business with no money. That's correct. But there will always be a cost for something. All right? See trading like that. What's your cost of doing business at this moment in time? Remember, right? You've got access to a marketplace where you can knock on its door every single day and say, yo, I want to do some business with you, bro. Market maker's going to be like, please make your way. Come, my friend. Come through. He wants your liquidity. Now, if you're smart about it, you'll know that, right? If I do business with this guy, I know he's a crook anyway, but I'm prepared to do it because he kind of gives me a clue when he's trying to rip me off. All right? I'm going to put my money in. I'm going to risk $100 on this trade. Okay? Say you make $70. Awesome. Move and lock it in. Take at least 50%. Lock it in. Because you never knew it was going to get to $70. None of you out there will know exactly how much money you can make in a trade. Whatever's presented to you, you should take. And whatever, if you say like, yeah, but you saying that, Tino, I mean, I set my TP and it always gets hit. Okay, so you can guarantee to me every time you set your TP, it's going to get hit. You'll come back to me and say, no, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is every time I set my TP. Okay, but you get the idea of what I'm trying to say. The idea is you've come to an environment, the most uncertain environment, the most taxing profession in the world, because it's got nothing to do with the money that is lost. It's about the trading psyche that is continuously being smacked left, right, and center. You're always having to go through the shoulda, woulda, coulda. The amount of times I've been in my car, I've been driving, I've been thinking, bro, why did you not just close it? Why did you not leave it open? Why didn't you just... I will have that conversation forever because I'm human. You're all human. You will be greedy. You will be fearful. But it's what you do to prevent yourself from getting there sooner. try and delay that. You will lose in this game. That's the truth. The sooner you accept that, the easier it's going to be. Cost of business will always be there. The sooner you get that, sooner it'll be easier for you to come to trading methodically and be like, okay, ABC is that has to happen for me to achieve DEF. That's it. And I know it's easily said than done, but that is really what it is. It's just a click of a button. I believe it's going to go up. Cool. Oh, I've made some money. Take the dog out.
Yep.
Walk away. I don't know why I said take the dog out.
No, 100%. And for me, Tino, I think like when I first started, I did just that, right? Like I would sit there and like I still ask myself this question often, like, oh man, I should have closed it out early, or oh, I should have held it longer. And I think in the beginning, what I used to struggle with was, like I said, the greed. I fell into the trap. Like you mentioned this a little bit earlier, was, I'll just get a good buy sell indicator and I'm going to get rich. I don't know, probably a couple months I'll be a millionaire. That's easy. And I was looking for that grand slam trade that was going to change my life. And it just wound up loss after loss after loss after loss. And then I started taking the small wins, right? And I was like, okay, this doesn't change my life, but this is this is a decent amount of money. Take the profit, take the small profit, take the small profit. And then the account would slowly grow. And I was like, I think I get it. I think I'm starting to get it now. Whereas I was just swinging for the fences. We had Garrett Soloway on the show one time, and he said it, best. Singles and doubles will make you a millionaire. Going for grand slams only will just make you broke. And that's really the lesson that I needed to hear when I started, was go for the singles and the doubles over time.
That's, you know what? If I were to say to someone, I want you to go and try and just disconnect from all of the internet, but have access to a syllabus that teaches you how to trade, regardless of whatever the system was. Doesn't matter what the system was, right? If they had access to that ability to just say, like, I'm disconnecting, no influences outside of it, no, the family, they won't bother him. Basically go to like a spa or something, or go lock yourself up take a tent and go sit at the top of a mountain, right? And study a system, for example, right? I think that would make people be more in tune with their ability to understand something so that they can then come to the charts and then execute it. What people are doing and going through now is trading's all about lifestyle. It's all about, the fat chains, the cars and what have you. So already someone that is new is coming into trading and saying, I like that car. I like her. She's fine, but she hasn't met Frankie's ex. You get what I'm saying? But it's sold on a dream. And that's the truth. Trading is sold on a dream of what could be a reality. That doesn't mean I'm trying to say to people, you can't dream, but you have to focus on the process, not the outcome. Anyone that plays poker will understand that a pair of aces does not win all the time. But the majority of the time, it does. So the process is, the more you play aces, the more you're going to win. How well you play those aces is a different story. That's where the process comes in. And the outcome eventually is going to play out. More people need to focus on the execution of trading before they worry about which Rolex they're going to be picking up, or what bag they're going to be buying for someone, or car. Like, you just have to just be so into understanding how the market moves before you worry about a penny or two that you're going to make and what to spend it on. That's you not focusing on the chart.
100%. And I think that's why I think it's why a lot of people walk away from trading too, right? Like, they see the Lambos, they see the watches, which I want to talk about watches in a second. But they see the watch, they see the Lambo, they see the cash, right? The chains and stuff. And they think, and then they see, like, guys, look, I show you how to do this on my Instagram. It's easy. And then they try it. They inevitably, obviously, give all their money to the market. And they're like, oh, this is a scam. I'm out of here. When, sure, maybe the influencer you were looking at might have misled you. Trading is not a scam. But the dream you were sold was not clearly exemplified. Like, it can get you that, but you're not going to start trading and the next day become a millionaire, or even the next month or the next year in most cases. It takes a very long time to slowly build up that account.
I'm going to say it now, right? Trading is hard. And the sooner you come to accept that, you're going to be more receptive to when things don't go your way. All right? There's a system out there that guarantees to make you X amount of money. All right? Now, don't get twisted. There are algorithms out there that do create good signals. Like, we're not gonna deny that. Algorithms are based on a certain criteria. And if we're in an optimal market, if the algo prints buy and it only is registering buy signals, and for example, moving averages is one of the criteria in the algorithm that says if it's effectively pointing upwards or price has deviated away from it so much, or whatever the criteria is, it's going to keep on printing buy signals. You're going to keep on making money. Nicholas Darvas, he's a very old trader. He's passed away, right? He wrote a book on how I made $2 million in the stock market. Now, they said that his box strategy, I've mentioned this before, he said that that strategy alone helped him make $2 million. Now, all he had was a newspaper, and he would send over his orders via the cable, speak to his broker, and he was a dancer. He was a professional dancer. So while he was doing the ballroom blitz, he was getting ready for the markets the next day afterwards and what have you, and placing trades with his broker. And he based it off this box strategy, right? They said that the time that Darvas was trading was a huge bull market. You could not have made money. Anything you brought went up.
Yep.
So when it comes to that story, you think, okay, why can't I go and get myself an algorithm? If we're in this bull market right now, I don't just go buy an algorithm that's going to keep on making me money, right? Again, people are focusing on results-based actions. They want the end result. And trading is not an end game. There is no end game in trading, because that means you've fully understood yourself. You've mastered yourself. Now, I know there's some people that have mastered themselves. Have you mastered yourself during this? I get messed up sometimes. Don't get twisted. I get frustrated at myself. I get really angry with myself sometimes. But I have to be out of my trade. Most of the time, I'll say to myself, I need to close this trade. So I have a little battle with myself sometimes. I'll be like, no, I'm not letting market maker do that to me. Bang. Then I'll start going for walks. I'll be doing this sort of stuff. Why? But then I'll say to myself, hold on a second, bro. You can now go back and get back into a trade. There are some people that might not be able to do that. They could have blown their accounts. So I think in abundance. I know if I'm wrong on a trade, cool. Let's go find another one. Because the market's going to be there. I hate weekends because I can't trade weekends. Because the markets are closed. Crypto's open, I know, but I ain't going to sit and watch Bitcoin move up and down for 30 seconds. Yeah. There's more activity happening in the veins in my arms than there is in Bitcoin. But I know Bitcoin does move some, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, right? I need that NASDAQ volatility, the fast movements, and that's in the legacy markets. But it's anybody new to trading, all right? Forget trying to make money, all right? Forget it. You master the execution, the money is going to be the end result, bro, because you can only make money. When you go on an exchange, you buy. The only next thing to do afterwards is sell. And if it's green, it's the only thing that can happen. It can only make money because the process is you execute at a certain point in time to exit at another point in time, hopefully at a higher price or a lower price, depending on how you're trading.
Yep.
That's my thought. I might, some people might be like, man, forget this guy. My experience, that's what I've learned about myself.
Yeah.
Right? My reflection of the market has nothing to do with how you are going to trade. I'm just sharing from my experience. I'm impulsive. I'm a scalper. That's what works for me.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And I going for walks is I do that too. Like if I'll go for a walk and be like, oh God, could have kept it open. But I love what you said. Mentioning that the market's always there, right? I say this all the time to my community. There's always another opportunity. And I think a big reason why people don't set a stop loss, and like I get all these questions in chat, my liquidation point is down here. Like, what do you think about this? Tell me what you think about this coin. Do you think it's going to go back down to this price? I'm going to get liquidated. And the only thing I can think is, why are you going to get liquidated? Like, why don't you just set a stop loss? And I think what you just said there is really important, because for me, I went through the same thing everyone else went through, right? Like I just said, I was going for that. I was going for gold, trying to be a millionaire, thought I was smart, and then obviously got humbled very quickly. But when I started understanding that the opportunity, there's always going to be another opportunity. I used to get all bent out of shape out of missing opportunity. And that's when price would go against my trade. I'd scoot my stop loss down just like I would scoot my take profit up. And I'd be like, oh, I don't want to get stopped out because I'm going to lose the trade. And I'd move my stop loss down. And then eventually I'd be like, I'll just take it off. It's not going to go to my liquidation point. And then after getting liquidated 100 times, I was like, okay, I must be doing this wrong. Let me learn.
Yeah.
And understanding that there's always going to be another opportunity and the market will be there the next day was, I think, a big thing for me that clicked in my head. And I was like, you know what? I don't care if I get stopped out. I'd rather lose a small amount of money than liquidate my whole trade. And I know for a fact that there's going to be many other opportunities on whatever asset I'm looking to trade the next day. If the ship sails, let it go, catch another trade.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Here's something for you guys. As a scalper, right, I'm looking for a very small move, okay? Now, I need to understand what's been going on in the range, right? So I'll be glued to the screen. If I know I'm going to be trading for, say, 3 hours, I'll come to the chart and I'll be looking at the 1 minute time frame, 5 minute time frame, and I'll get a feel for what's going on, right?
Yep.
I'm looking at the charts. Price is going up. Going down, and then I start to recognize things like, it's just moved up, but it keeps coming down. I've got live trading videos on the website, and you hear my thought process, and I'm talking you through the trade as it's happening. I've made the execution. You see it get done there, okay? But it's the thought process. What's keeping me in the trade? What's trying to get me to get out of the trade? I don't set a stop loss. And the reason I don't set a stop loss is because I'm continuously asking the question. Here's a new candlestick. It's giving me more information. What's the information? Well, it's been trying to break that 50 EMA. It's not done it yet. What about the last candle there? It seems to be holding. If it can't hold that, then I'd assume it's going to try and go down. Look left. There could be a vector candle they could be working towards. I need to jump to the higher time frames. I'm not interested in anything above the 15-minute time frame if I'm trading such a small range or looking for a small move. And I'm going through this process. And when I do that, that's how I'm able to grab a quick move continuously, because I'm getting in with the chart. Do you see what I mean? Because I'm getting new information continuously.
Yep.
That's why I won't set a stop loss, because then that means I'm not focusing on the move. There could be something that happens inside of a candlestick or a build up towards a specific area that I might miss just because the stop loss is there. Now, listen, I'm not saying go and don't place any stop losses. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, what works for me is I always would put a stop loss in place and it would always get hit. And there was never a reason to why it would get hit. I just see price hit it, and then I'd always see it go in my favor afterwards. So I wanted to eliminate that. Was I using too much of a small stop loss? Maybe. So then I started getting into the playing with fire and not having a stop loss. And I know that when price gets to a specific area, that's my stop loss. Because if they've made it towards this zone, I'm wrong. And that's one thing you got to accept, guys. It is okay to be wrong.
Yep.
It ain't going to be bad, but it's good to be wrong.
Yeah.
Because if you were in denial about being wrong, you're going to bleed your account continuously.
Yeah.
All right. And that's what I do. So just look at what's going on. Get a feel for how it's moving. I might sound bat crazy.
No.
But That's how I trade. I'm a scalper. I'm focusing on a very small zone, and I'm looking for effectively. If I grab a big move, awesome. If I get that vector, done. Move my stop. That's when I place a stop. Is to lock profit in, and then just go about your day.
Yeah. 100%. And, I always talk about that too. Like, I think a lot of people have this idea that when you set a stop loss, it's like, I don't want to lose 3% or whatever the number is. And, when people ask me, like, where should I set my stop loss? Obviously, there's many different ways to do it. But the main thing that I know a lot of people use the ATR or the average true range.
Average true range, yeah.
A lot of people will set above or below the last swing high, depending on if you're longing or shorting. And there's a bunch of different techniques, but what I tell people is basically what you just said, is set it based off of an actual technical level on the chart, somewhere where you think price will actually react. Because like you said, when you start, I had the same exact thing happen to me. I would set my stop loss and my TA would be pretty good. It would always go the way I thought, but it would just stop me out right before. So I
you
like
got to remember, bro, it's, you got to look at it like this. Your stop losses are the advert to the broker where your money's at, basically.
It's the liquidity.
Right? And if you're too concerned about money being lost, you can't be trading. You've automatically gone into the trade with the fear of losing. Stop trading. You have to accept that that money doesn't exist to you. That doesn't mean you don't protect it. That's the truth. So if there was, when it comes to stop losses, guys, like if you're new, you got to get into the mechanics of understanding how to place stop losses. You got to understand, like, if it goes to here, that red line is an acceptance of money you are happy to lose in this trade. The second, here's a little tip for you. The second you move your stop loss, you need to close the trade. Because you should already know what the trade stop level is. You should know, based on your risk parameters, if you want to risk $100, wherever $100 is in the chart, depending on the asset, I know you've got to factor in the asset, but wherever your loss is of $100, if you have to move it, you need to kill the trade. Because imagine thousands of people doing that. The market's just going to work its way towards those zones and clean you out until you have no choice but to close it. And guess what? It will reverse and go back up.
Absolutely. So that's like one of the biggest questions. Like, I get this question a lot. Is like, I'm struggling with this problem, Frankie. Like, I don't know. I feel like this never happens to anybody else. I set up my trade and I get stopped out right before it goes the way I think. And I'm like, that's the game. That is they're just kicking you out of your trades and then moving it in the direction you think. And like you said, when you set those stop losses, you're putting that point of interest for the market makers. And that's why, I always try to explain it to them. Like, also, there's very, very common ways to set stop losses, which, makes it very obvious, like certain places that they're going to go hunt those stops at. So, but I love that. And I do, Tino, guys, is obviously a good trader, right? You even said it, like, don't just randomly not set stop losses. There's obviously a method. But yeah, I would totally agree. But yeah,
it's down to your experience. Like, I can methodically tell you how to do something. How well you do it is a different story. If you follow ABC, but when you apply A, you're not happy that day. And when you go to apply B, you've cut yourself and you're pouring with blood. And then you go to look for C and you're half asleep. What I'm trying to say is there are too many things that can influence our decisions. Trading has to be boring. You have to not have any emotions when you're trading. And it's hard to say that because you can't expect people to be like, no emotions, bro. It just won't happen. You will always get emotional. Yeah, man. Unless you get an AI to trade for you. And even then you're going to get emotional because you'll be like, man, this robot ain't making me money.
Thank you for the roses.
That's the name of the beast.
But yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I think one of the best This wasn't really advice that I got for trading, but this is more advice just for investing and crypto in general. Was I'll never forget this. I was talking to Ben, and he was saying, he actually didn't even give it as advice. He was just saying in general, he said the best thing he ever did, and basically, because you can't be too scared either. I think you just mentioned something about this. If you're scared to lose money, don't trade. Like, because number one, you're guaranteed going to lose money, whether you're losing a small amount of money or you're blowing up an account. Especially if you're learning, you're going to lose money when you're learning how to trade. So if you're scared to lose money, probably not the game for you. But what Ben was saying was, he said the best thing I ever did is take your capital that you're investing with and see it as points, right? Don't think of it as money or what that money could buy, but think of it as just simply a number. And you want to grow that number. Try to separate the monetary value from it and just look at it as like a point system. Or I think what he said was, think of it as GTA money, right? And just see it as just plain numbers. Because I think if you see $10,000 in an account and it's down to 5 or what have you, you're thinking about all that stuff you could have done with the money. And this brings even more emotions in. But if you're just looking at it as simple, like just simple numbers, sure, okay, I lost some points today, but you kind of like money has a deep emotional connection with us, and I think that's why trading is so hard, because we have like, it's very hard to separate those emotions, especially when it comes to money, because it isn't just money. It isn't just paper. It isn't just numbers on the screen. It's food on the table. It's a roof over your head. It's your kid getting the Christmas present that he wants, right? So I just, you saying that made me think of that. Like, look at it as points or look at it as GTA money. And that did help me a little bit as far as just in general, like don't be, like, I would still get a little bummed out like when I would lose money, but like now I don't even really think about it like that, because I have a system and I know it wins over time, right? So when I lose that money, I'm like, whatever, we lost a few points, it's growing over time, and that's just how it works. And that's kind of how I look at it.
Do you know what? A lot of people, when it comes to a system, it's like, so I'm going off topic here, but
That's
it's the hybrid system in essence, right, is not per se it's like a methodical system, right? But you're effectively looking behind the curtain before the show has been aired, right? You're looking behind what the market maker's doing, even though you're seeing it happening in front of you, right? Anyone that uses the hybrid system won't look at a candlestick the same way again, because you know what's going on inside, or you have an assumption that based on the principle of the market maker, you know that they're building for something because it's an advert for the opposite. The hybrid system is that. It's you looking behind the curtain saying, I can see that mother. I know what he's, all right, cool. And then people are like, yo, look, the show's going to start. And then you're like, man, this show ain't going to start, bro. There's no one behind that curtain. What are you chatting about? I just saw it. Do you know what I mean? That's what the hybrid's about.
I love that.
Making sense of what you see is different to what I see, but we're looking at the same thing.
Right.
So it's a very discretionary system.
Yep.
There's no A, B, C. If this happens, then this will happen. It's more like, this has happened. This may happen, but we'll get this first before that happens.
Yep.
But there could be a possibility that these two scenarios right here might not even happen. Price can only go up or down or sideways. That is what trading's about. You're having to make sense of the unknown.
Yep.
That's why I'm going to get that Neuralink.
That's right. And we'll always know.
I want it, bro.
Yeah. That's how I'm telling you. When it comes out, we're going together, bro. We're going together. But I do want to, I have one more legitimate question.
There was a couple of questions people have asked.
Yeah.
As well.
So
people have asked some questions.
One question I do want to ask you is, I just want to get this one because this is one that we had written down. So when it comes to time frames, right? This is something that I think everybody kind of interprets time frames a little bit differently. But the question is basically asking, when you're looking at time frames, like how long do you typically hold a trade, and how is that dependent on the time frame? I know you said you're a scalper. usually between the 1 and the 15 minute. So how long in general are you in one of those trades?
So it all depends on when I'm trading. Okay. The most volatile time in the marketplace is the New York Open. Okay. I'm trying to get into a trade. If I've caught the momentum, then I will ride it as long as I can. Because I don't know I'm going to grab the momentum. I didn't know that. That's why I said that if price goes at this point, then I'm naturally going to think that if it goes against me, then it will have to hit this point. Okay. I'm working out where to get out rather than how long I can hold it for.
Yep.
Because then that means I'm an outcome-based trader, not a process-based trader. I'm getting new information continuously about the livelihood of my trade. So if I open a short and price goes down, it works in my favor. I've earned myself, for example, 5 pips. Okay. Now, if I'm using lot sizes in Forex, I'm using anything between 10, 20, 30 lot sizes. Okay. I haven't got time to behave like a swing trader. Only if price goes aggressively in my favor, then I'm going to sit back and behave like a swing trader, because I've achieved, if I'm looking for just 5 to 10 pips max, right? And then I get a move that gives me 70 pips in one trade, I'm just going to set myself a stop at 50 pips and I don't care what it does after that. So if I had a goal of making 5 pips, I've achieved that nearly 10 times. I've locked in what 10 times 5 pips is to me. Okay. I've got an extra 20 pips down below and price is just doing its own thing. Keeps on earning me money because it keeps on going down. I had no idea that that was going to be the case. I have to go into the charts with a structure of when can I get out? I'm not looking about trying to stay as long as I can in a trade, because that's the way I trade. I've been a swing trader. Scalping is what I understand because that's my personality.
Yep.
So to answer the question on how long to hold onto a trade, if I give you that answer, that means I can tell you what the future is going to be. So if I look at the charts now and look at Bitcoin's price, and I say to you to go long, because I know that Bitcoin's going to go to, hypothetically, it'll go to 37. That's me telling you, I'm guaranteeing that it's going to go to 37. So you should hold until 37. No one knows that.
Yep.
And don't put pressure on yourself to know it, because there's no guarantee that it will. We won't be having this conversation if you open a trade and it goes against you, right?
Yep.
So why are you thinking about how much money you can make?
Right.
The gambler will tell you how much he can make, but a trader will tell you how much he can lose. You should focus on how much you can lose before you can work out about how much you can win. That doesn't mean you don't set a TP or you don't have an area that you can aspire to trade towards, all right? That's why I only trade towards vectors, because I'm improving the chance of my trade working out if I trade towards a vector point. It might take 10 minutes, it might take 20 minutes, okay? But while I'm in a trade, I'm looking for a reason to get out. If I'm not given that reason, I have to hold my trade. That's how I manage my expectation of a return. Because if I'm not seeing the reason to get out, that only means I've got to stay in.
Yep.
You know? If I'm given a reason to get out, well, I'm worrying about where I want it to go.
Right.
I've got to deal with the information that's saying to me, get out. That's why I don't set a stop, because that information can change.
Yep.
Because the market can evolve in such a... I can go so deep into this, bro.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And like you said, I do think it has a lot to do with, like, I think, Tino, I think we have really hard jobs, right? Because all the questions, like, at least a lot of the questions that I get is, it might be something like the question we just had here. I don't know. We don't have names on them, but shout out to whoever asked that. I think the questions are like, it's never that easy of an answer, like you said, right? Like, for me, it's not, if I get into a trade on the 15-minute, right, or the 4-hour, whatever it is, every trade is completely different. People will be like, how long do you hold a trade if you get in on this time frame, like that exact question? I would kind of be like, it depends on what the trade looks like. For me, like you said, I like to get my setup, right? I look for it to play out, and I'm pretty conservative, right? I'll have my
Mm.
TP, and then when we get to my final TP, I'll lock in partial profit, right? So I guess technically a partial TP, but that's where I thought price would go. And if things are still looking like, hey, we might continue down or we might continue up, whatever, if I'm long or short, back to the singles and doubles make you a millionaire and the grand slams will make you go broke. I go for that single and double, right? I get a lot of singles, a lot of doubles, and sure, you're not making $1 million overnight, but when you go for those singles and doubles and you hold, what I like to do is I call them moon bags. Like I'll just hold a little bit of a moon bag. I'll take a good amount of profit out and I'll leave a little bit there. And sometimes you get that grand slam trade to come in and that little scalp turns into more of a swing trade. So when someone asks me that question, I'm like, well, I've gotten into trades on the 5-minute or the 15-minute that I wound up holding part of it for much longer. So I think it's important for people to understand at home watching that there's so many variables that go into not only every trade, but every time frame and every strategy, and just every style of trading is so unique and individual.
Bro, there are people that are specialists on the tick charts, right? So you look at the 1 minute time frame. To a person that works on the tick chart, the 1 minute time frame is the daily time frame.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying there? That is wild for the tick chart traders. Now, these are people that are looking for the littlest move. They've got a different kind of way of thinking. You take a 5-minute time frame trader, 15-minute time frame trader. Each time frame is a reflection of your personality. That's the best way I can put it. If you're a scout, if you are impulsive, if you get angry easily, like me, I'm not an angry person. I just lose very quickly.
Yeah, I'm Sicilian, so I'm right there with you.
I'm Greek, bro.
Oh, there you go.
Angry. Didn't you know I was Greek?
I think I did know that, yeah.
You think, bro? Come on, man.
Actually, if you asked me to guess, I would guess Greek. Tony D is Greek as well.
Tony's Greek.
He is.
You kept that
Antonio's.
one quiet.
Actually, I think it's Italian.
Oh my God. Is he Greek or is he Italian?
Actually, Tony D, let me know. I think he's like, maybe he's part and part. He's got the two best nationalities for food. He's got Greek food and he's got Italian food. His dad's like super Italian, and I think his mom is super Greek. Like both very hardcore.
I'm gonna edge to the Greek food, bro, man. It's always gonna be Greek.
I can't even hate on that.
I love to my Italians, but it's always going to be Greek. I'm biased to that, man. Come on.
Of course. So I have to say, probably chicken parmesan is probably my favorite meal ever. But I would actually go ahead and argue that Greek and Italian, I'm almost Greek and Italian food exclusive when it comes to my favorites. All my favorite food is, most of it's Italian, just because I love Italian food and I grew up eating it. But Greek, all like gyros or gyros, depending on, gyros are, oh my God. Greek food, tzatziki sauce. I'm sure I butchered that word too. But just Greek food is amazing as well.
Have I told you my story about the chicken?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so this is Greek food. At my auntie's in Cyprus, she has this farmland, okay? And she's got a lot of animals, chickens, rabbits, birds, like it's like a little dairy farm in there, okay? One day I was like, I'm hungry, auntie, what are we going to be eating today? And she's like, go get me a chicken. I was like, go to the shops. She goes, no, go get me a chicken from the yard. I was like, what do you want me to do with it? Just go get me the chicken, bruv. I was like, okay. So I'm going into the yard now, all right? She's got all these chickens, and she's following me. She says, grab that one. I was like, I ain't going in there, man. What are you talking about? Just go and get me the chicken. So I go in, I'm acting like a little girl right now. I'm like, I'm worried about them pecking at me, and they're losing their mind in there, in that cage, right? So I was like reluctant to do so, and I just grabbed it just grabbed the chicken. I just threw it to her. Bruv, she grabs the chicken's neck, forgive me, shoves its head into a funnel, cuts the chicken's head off, takes out the chicken, and then says, right, let it run for about 5 minutes. So I'm like, watching this. This chicken's running headless. The head's on the floor blinking at me like this. And I'm feeling bad about this chicken, but it's still running around until it drops. My auntie then picks up the chicken and shoves it into a pot of boiling hot water. This was a premeditated murder, my friend. She knew what was going on. Puts the chicken inside, leaves it to boil, peels it all off, prepares it, and we sat down at the table. And we had this lovely chicken lemon soup. It's called afgolemoni. And I'm sat there looking at the chicken on the table.
Yeah.
Lovely. Right? Everyone's come in and they're like, oh, yeah, man, we're having this chicken soup, this afgolemoni. Yeah, baby. And I'm sat there thinking, that's not how I see this chicken. Right? That's Greek food.
Yep.
That's as organic as it comes. I ain't
Yeah.
even going to tell you about what they do to the pig.
Oh, God, yeah. Talk about
You ever had
organic.
pig? Have you had pig's brain before?
I have had sheep brain, I believe.
Yeah, well, these Greek guys, they put a pig on a spit and they were spinning it around, pulled it off, and then they planted it on the table, getting lemon, bruv, squeezing it into the pig's brain and scooping like it's like cottage cheese.
Yep.
That was wrong. I was looking at my cousin. I was like, bruv, man, that's
Yeah.
nah.
That's
Greek food, bro.
Yeah, that's organic. Organic Greek food.
Bro, that's a violation, man.
Yeah.
Not organic. It's a violation. Clean violation to the animal, bro. Like, come on, man.
100%. 100%. That's too funny. True organic Greek food. Tony D said his so I think he's half and half. His dad was born in Italy and his mom was born in Cyprus. So
Hey, happy day.
yeah, might be an
Dad
extended
loves it.
family.
We could be cousins, bro.
I'm sure
We
it
could be
wouldn't
cousins.
surprise me, yeah. Tino, I have one more question before we let you go, and this just randomly came in, and I know we talked about like the Lambos and the watches and how sometimes people try to sell a fake dream of trading, and I don't want to do that, but there's a bunch of questions. A bunch of people spotted the watch on your wrist, and they're wondering what it is.
It's a trader's reality watch.
No way.
It's a custom-made trader's reality watch.
No way.
Not bad, huh?
Where'd you get it?
A watchmaker reached out to me,
Really?
and I was like, "You make watches?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, make me a trader's reality watch." He made me a trader's reality watch, man.
No way.
Yeah, man.
That's
Back in the
awesome.
day. It's it's the best watch, bro.
I
It's
love
the best
that.
watch. It's the every time I look at the time, I'm like, the amount of streams that we've done in the past. When I first started off this game, because I was waiting for a cup of tea to brew, I'm always at that point. I always reflect on that, man.
Yep.
This I would not have this mad community of people like the pattern watchers. They're the best people, man. You know, I've spoken to many people and people from different walks in life, but we all share the same thing, man. We got mad love for each other.
Yep.
You know, I got mad love to everyone, and that's why I'm always on the grind. I might sound crazy at times, don't get twisted, but I might speak a little bit fast. I might talk wild nonsense at best of times. But it's just my way of trying to get a point across because, again, waiting for a cup of tea to brew, I wanted to know if I understood what I was talking about. And if someone can take what I talk about, and make money from it, I might just understand something, you know? That's how I see it.
Absolutely. I love that. And it's like, yeah, it's so cool. When did you start your channel?
I started my channel in June. Mike's in the chat. He'll know.
All right, Michael, let us know in the chat.
I started my channel originally as just a place for me to talk about my trading. It was a little mini podcast. That's all it was.
Hmm.
But I decided to just go live one time and share my charts. And then from then, it was like I'm speaking to like 50 people. And I thought, oh my God, 50 people are listening to me. That doesn't make sense. And then the next day it was talk about this, talk about that, till one guy says, what about Bitcoin? And I was like, Bitcoin? I ain't going to talk about that. I'm all about that euro and that dollar yen. And that was just before the bull run.
Ooh.
Just before that. And then, boy, we were just smashing out streams, 18, 19-hour day streams, man. All on a laptop that I had brought just to take notes. I just wanted it on the side while I was trading. Just have a little laptop. It was just there. I didn't expect it to have like so many people. I would not expect that I'd be streaming to nearly 1,500 people a day, every day. If I wasn't doing this, I'd just be at my laptop, trading away, keeping my mouth shut, watching the madness unfold. But it was COVID that made me get on the whole game.
Gotcha.
Because I saw a lot of people lose a lot of their life.
Yep.
Everything that they worked for, gone.
Yep.
And because they had nothing else, they couldn't do anything else. So I thought, okay, I'm in a fortunate position that I can open the laptop and I can trade. Yeah, you win some, you lose some, but I'm in that position where I can do that. Someone that doesn't even know how to trade, doesn't even know that these markets exist. I want to try and get someone into that. Maybe it might help someone. That was my way of doing it. Bang. Look at where we are now.
Here we are.
100,000 strong, 103,000 people following the madness. But we bring the fire. I hope that you guys can agree that I bring the fire. I try anyway, if I ain't getting a headache. Today's Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And we're definitely, I know everyone is definitely happy that you wound up doing those live streams and that you're here. I see people in chat saying that the Tino face reveal was absolutely epic. Guys, throw some fire in the chat for Tino now.
Dude, that was the scariest thing. The face reveal was scary, bro.
Yeah.
It took me nearly 7 hours to record a 5-second segment, bro, on that introduction video about, who Traders Reality was. 5-second video. Welcome to Traders Reality. I'm Tina. That's all. Yep. Right? It was so hard, bro. Boy. Now I've got memes about me and just pulling some wild ass stuff. Like, I've seen it on you as well, bro. It's people run for it. I'm cool with it anyway. It makes me laugh. It does make me laugh.
100%. It's like, yeah, it's cool. In my opinion, this is the coolest job in the world. And again, like you said, being able to share information, if there's anything that people can learn from me, I know you definitely feel the same. If someone can learn something from you and benefit and make a little bit of money with it, it's like one of the most fulfilling things in the world. My favorite thing about the job is getting messages saying, you help me do this, or you help me just learn TA, or you help me make money to pay this off, or whatever it is. There's nothing more rewarding in the entire world. But I do want to thank you again, Tino. Thank you so much for coming on, dude. Bring in the sauce. But yeah, I'll give you the stage for the next however long you want. Please let people know where they could find you. Let them know what you got going on. And thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate you so much.
It's a pleasure, man. Thank you to everyone. The CandleMafia, Frankie's ex. It's been a pleasure. I'll catch up with you in 5 minutes, miss. Now, listen. So, guys, you hear me talking about it all the time. 2 things. So firstly, it's going to be coming to a close on the Patreon. So it's your last chance to join that bad boy. You'll hear me talking about it again tomorrow anyways. But get over to the Traders Reality website, which is tradersreality.com. There's a free course up there on the hybrid system. You're going to learn about how to plot everything that we talk about, whether it's the psychological levels, the ADRs, the pivot levels. In essence, it's been created because what if you don't have access to TradingView? Can someone put you on the spot and say, tell me where Bitcoin's going to go? Can you pull up your phone and say, give me 2 seconds? You'll know the formulas to plot the pivots, the ADRs, the average weekly range, the M levels. You'll be able to plot it all, even the psychological levels. So go and check that bad boy out. It's free on tradersreality.com. Mad love to every single one of you. Are you going to close this, or am I just going to bounce? I've got a date.
Hey, tell my ex I said hi. And shit, guys, I didn't realize, Tino, I'm going to say this. We have never had a collab go the full length of the stream. Should we have you close out the live stream?
Well, it all depends on...
Yeah.
2 seconds, man. Chill.
Oh, God. All right, Tino.
Do your thing, man. Listen, I'm a bounce. Pattern watchers, mad love to you all. Make sure you're subscribing to Frankie, man. He brings the flavor. I thought I brought fire. This guy's volcanic. All right? Thank you so much for having me, bro.
Thank you, Tino. We appreciate you, and hopefully we can have you on again soon. And yeah,
anytime, bro.
Love it.
Anytime.
Absolutely. And let us know when you get that podcast going. I would love to come on.
This should be our first episode, bro.
There you go.
This should be the first episode.
I love it. Well, Tito, thanks again, brother. We'll see you soon. Take it easy.
No worries, bro.
And have fun with Mrs. X.
Man. You kill my flow, bro.
See you later, brother. Thanks for coming on.
Later, bro. Mad love to you all. Peace.
Oh, baby. Let's go. Shout out to Tino for Traders Reality, guys. What? Oh, God, man. He brings the sauce. We love having Tino on, guys. We've never gone 2 hours with a guest. Literally, almost a full 2 hours. I see you guys in the chat. Yeah, Tino, much love, bro, as always. Yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat, guys. Go sub to the Traders Reality YouTube channel and smash that like button if you thought he brought the fire. And yeah, wear that X out. Shout out to you guys. Yeah, if anybody caught in the live stream earlier today, I was talking to Mrs. Candles, who is right here. But I mentioned, I said, hey, I wonder what my exes are up to. I guess now we know. Shout out to Tino. But yeah, guys, I did not think that was going to go the full stream, but I definitely don't mind it because, listen, when you got sauce flowing like that, you can't cut it. You can't cut it early. So let's see. Shout out to Crypto Billy. Made 20K in 2 days on X. What is X? Shout out to Cooler J. Shout out to Jose. Says, oh my gosh, okay. But let's see. I just got here a few minutes ago. I feel like I missed something. V Slim, I would rewind. Yeah, I would rewind. Yeah, pretty funny stuff. But guys, let me just do a quick little, I think my volume might be a little high. Let me just do a quick check-in on Bitcoin as I launch TradingView here. This is literally going to be like a 5-minute update. I don't want to leave you guys with nothing. I actually don't know what Bitcoin's doing right now because I haven't looked at the chart in 2 hours. So I do just want to pull up the chart really quickly here and go ahead and break down some stuff for you guys just so we can have at least somewhat of an idea of what's going on here. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let me go ahead and hide this. Come on over to the live stream chart. Okay, so really quickly, guys, obviously we did get a little bit of a move down here as we got a move up. Kind of, I don't know, what was this? Yeah, this was, what was this? What's today? 27th? Yeah, so this was yesterday. We got a little push up earlier today. However, we basically ate up all those gains and came right back down into our into the bottom of our range here, right? But we are starting to find a little bit of support on this local golden pocket. If we get a strong bounce off here, guys, listen, looking at Market Cypher, money flow is still in the green. Our VWAP is rolling back to the upside. It is a decent sign that this money flow is not back in the red. So I would look for this VWAP to roll back up and see if we can get another bounce to the upside. And then your key levels of resistance for the short term here. Yeah, 2-day green dot looking to print. Money flow looking to come up a little bit more here. Green dot on the daily is another thing to keep an eye on here, guys. This has been flashing basically all day. So once that winds up printing, we could see a little bit of a move up there as well. But really what I would be looking at here, guys, yeah, 8-hour red dot. Ooh, 30-minute not looking too good here. I would just look to, I mean, we're back in the volume profile here, right? We're back in the range. We came down to the value area low. We are now holding on top of the POC. I would expect until that green dot prints, until that 4-hour green dot prints, I would expect some consolidation here. Maybe even, I would just expect to basically respect this range. Let me go ahead and extend this. It is extended. Is that to the current? Yeah. So I would just look to respect these levels, guys. Value area high sitting at about 29,360. Point of control coming in at about $29,174. And then your value area low, I would actually look at as a little bit of a range here because you do have your 786 just below. So I would just look to respect these levels here, guys, until, again, we see something happen with that 4-hour green dot or the daily green dot. I would expect to potentially just kind of bing bong around these levels, maybe lose our maybe lose the POC, come back to the value area low. I would look for a somewhat of a short-term bounce off that level. Now, if we do get, again, because we just are really super short on time, if we get a bigger move to the downside, guys, I would be looking, I think we talked about this earlier, I would be looking down to this second blue box here. Now, remember, we came down and kissed our macro value area low, sitting here at about 28.8K. But we have to remember that we do have this second value area low sitting down here closer to, I would look between 28.7 and 28.6. We do have another value area low in that region. And if we do wind up getting another move down, we could potentially see some decent support on this level. And again, that daily green dot, is not printing just yet. So if we do get some kind of a quick move down here before that green dot on the daily prints, and we do come down to these levels and we find some bullish confirmations, I would expect a bounce here. And maybe at that time, your green dot on the daily is printing. But essentially, key levels of support is going to be this blue box again between 28.6 and basically the top of this blue box still 28.8K. Going to be that next kind of key level of support. So I'm not really expecting any giant moves down for Bitcoin until we break that level to the downside, because at that point we are losing our macro value area with our value area high up here, and then the value area low again coming in right down here at 28,650, give or take. So, once you reject that high, you are expecting to come to the POC. If you lose the POC, you're expecting to come to the low, which we did on that one previous value area low, but we do have this other one down here, and we could just go for that lower low at that level of support. And if we get those bullish confirmations, that daily green dot, that 4-hour green dot, even potentially, that could be where we get that bounce from. So I'm not really getting too concerned until we break this level. I am still in my long, guys. I missed the stop. Let's see. Yeah, I missed this stop by like $15. So I am still in that long. We'll see what happens if I get stopped out. I'll make a very small amount of money. I basically stopped out at break even almost. I will come out in a little bit of profit, but then I will just simply look for my confirmations down here to look for another long entry. But short and sweet on Bitcoin today, guys. Again, for a move up, I would just look at that daily green dot or that 4-hour green dot looking to, kind of come up here and potentially print very soon. But until that happens, I would look for some consolidation or even potentially another move down. But with all that being said, guys, I think that's all the time we got for today's live stream. Shout out to Yasha, says, sorry, I'm behind. I'm behind a bit rewatching. Shout out to Yasha. Thank you for being here. You're probably going to hear that in a few minutes. Shouty got low. Shout out to Wick589. But guys, thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you so much. TT BBC Red says, Frankie, thank you for hosting Tino. You two bring the fire. Shout out to Tino from Traders Reality, guys. Don't forget to go subscribe to his channel. Shout out to MC Slacker said market maker like, I guess market maker is what he means by MM. I'm thinking of MM crypto. Market maker, I don't know about that. Shout out to you, bro. Shout out, let's see. Yeah, shout out to Elionic. Shout out to Jonah Plainclothes. Great time. Thanks, Frankie. No problem. Cheers. Syrup time. Shout out to Bow S&W. Shout out to you, man. Let's see. Asta Pasta. Darren Does Think says, awesome combo and quick TA. Thanks, Frankie. No problem. Yeah, guys, sorry. Did not know we were going to go for that full 2 hours. But, hey, when Tino brings the fire, you don't cut him off early, guys. And but with all that being said, guys, that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. And thank you for everybody that tuned into the 50K subscriber live stream. That was super fun. So thanks, everybody, for showing love. And thank you, everybody, everybody for subscribing to the channel and showing endless support. I'm forever indebted to you guys. And with all that being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow, same place, same time, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right after ATB. Shout out to my boy DZ. That's all I got. Frankie Candles out. I messed up my buttons. Bing bong.
Tyler Ramos.
Shout out to Hodl Crypto. You called it. You said 3, 2, 1. Here I am for a Frankie fake out. Shout out to you, man. And shout out to Creighton C. Was Creighton C, were you in the stream earlier today? Why do I not remember that? Well, welcome to the kitchen, bro. Creighton C in the premium Discord now. Won a lifetime membership. You're with us for life, bro. Shout out to you guys. And also, shout out to the pattern watchers in here. You guys are an awesome community. I can 100% tell that. So shout out to the pattern watches. Shout out to the pattern watchers. Shout out to the CandleMafia. I love you all. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time. You know the rest. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing, bong.